Hi folks, here we are during the day. I just thought I'd show you that Sharon does all the work really. The ones you see me doing are just me showing little tutorials. This is typical of what can happen. Orders come in. Now, as I said to you before, we get our orders from eBay and we get our orders from Facebook. I do get so many people coming to me saying, oh, can we have a look at your eBay stores? Now, I used to give out my eBay store information. I don't do it anymore for the simple reason being is that the people who watch my YouTube videos, that wasn't enough information for them. They had to go to my eBay store and nick my designs and nick my niches. Now, don't forget, these are niches that I've researched and people were actually coming in and competing, not only with the same niches, but with the same images and the same phrases on the t-shirts and stuff like that. So I no longer give out them stuff. But as I say, we get initial orders from eBay and sometimes we get repeating orders as well. And also from private clubs and stuff like that. We've done different sort of vehicle clubs, we've done different dancing type clubs, so many different types of clubs we've done orders for. So once they know that we make the t-shirts, then
in my way.
And I'm in her way. What happens then? Maybe 6 months later, maybe even a year later, we'll get an email come through, and without the need to advertise, they'll send us an email and say, "Oh, can you do us a batch of t-shirts in this design and that design or whatever?" And we just send them an invoice, so you haven't got to go through the hassle of going through relisting on eBay, but they'll just order as and when directly via like email sort of thing, and then we just go into our PayPal, write out an invoice to them and send them, and straight away that's it, job done. So Sharon's just doing a little batch of t-shirts now, and I think it's about 8 t-shirts, Sharon, total, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Sharon's just doing them. It may not seem a lot, but this sort of job can bring in around £100. You know, a simple little job like this, for example. So Sharon goes along and does that, and as you can see, she's using the same techniques as what I've taught you, which is lining up the image, the transfer, for example, with the tape measure, although you can't see it right in front of you sort of thing, but that's exactly what she's doing there. And as I say, we'll bag these t-shirts up, what she's printed here, and off we go. So happy days. Now I'm going to answer a couple of questions now from some questions I've been asked recently. Now, one chap emailed me asking about a problem he was having whilst pressing sweatshirts and also hoodies, I think it was, and he was using a dark t-shirt transfer paper, the ones I recommend in my training DVD, and he said what was happening was that where the image was white, it was coming, the colour beneath was coming through or showing through, and he asked if I'd ever experienced that problem before. Well, if you remember, if you go back to the hat press video where I actually pressed the black cap on here, if you remember, this is the blue cap I pressed, but it was the same image, and this was an image which I put on a black cap. And when I pressed it, and if you remember rightly, when I took the cover sheet off, I looked, and where it is white on this image, it was sort of the black underneath was actually bleeding through, and it looked terrible. And the reason why that was, and we proved it in that actual video, I can't remember the actual video, but it was in my hat pressing video. And the reason why that was is because the thicker the garment or the material, for example, this is quite a thick padded thing compared to a t-shirt. The thicker the garment, the more moisture they retain, and a 5-second blast may not be enough for you to get rid of all the actual moisture in the garment. So what you need to do, if you're pressing, for example, like on a hoodie or a sweatshirt or something like that, you need to press and get the moisture out and hold it for a lot longer, and maybe even press it twice so you make sure that the garment is dry. And one of the indications of that, obviously, is when you lift the press up, you don't see any steam coming up. So that's just an issue that you might have if you're using dark t-shirt transfers on a thicker garment. Make sure that you get the moisture completely out, otherwise the image can bleed through. Now the chap obviously done that, and he obviously had this old image on a good sweatshirt, and he wanted to know whether you can remove these images once you've actually pressed them. Well, I think there is a fluid out which you can put on it. I've never used it personally, but there is some sort of chemical or fluid that you can put on there, and it loosens the glue up or something, and then you can actually withdraw or take off the transfer paper. I have done it before on a t-shirt or a garment, for example, and what I've done is I've pressed it till it's hot, and then I've used my fingernail and got underneath and started peeling it off and then reheating it again and getting it off that way. Sure, if you've got a big image, obviously that's going to be a right nuisance to do. But if you're only dealing with a logo, for example, or a small type of image or some writing or whatever, then by heating it up and just picking the corner, you can actually recover the garment in question. But as I say, if you've had that issue yourself, it's nothing to do with the inks, it's nothing to do with the transfer paper, if you're using the same transfer paper as what I do, and the problem is lying with moisture still in the garment. So that's just something to be aware of, and I better get out of her way. She's going to have a go at me if I keep getting in her way, ain't you, Sharon?
Yeah, that's right.
Hey?
Sure will.
So yeah, she's just doing a batch of t-shirts now. I'll leave her to do that, and yeah, I hope that was of some use to you anyway. It's something you may come up against, so just beware. Moisture in thicker garments, make sure that you press them for a little bit longer time, and make sure there's no steam coming out of them when you lift the garment out. Don't forget to cover the item still with your Teflon sheet, as that will stop the item from scalding or having a heavy mark on it. And those are just the things that I do. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little quick vid. See you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now, baby.
Bye.
See you later.